excuse the lighting and everything, and excuse if I am a little bit rushed. I am going to walk carnivore dog before work and I've got to get going, but I don't want this to be seen as bitchy or picky or negative, but I want to talk about it because it's something that irks me, and I just want to discuss this particular phenomenon. Okay, so in true crime, we've got a lot of people that have suffered in their lives themselves, right? They are often wanting to be advocates, crusaders, for people who have been victims of injustice and violence. And there's a good reason behind why a lot of people get involved in true crime and why they discuss cases, and it's all valid no matter what the reasons are, even if it's just because it's an enjoyable pastime or a hobby, right? But most people probably are deeply empathetic. They've been through hell themselves. They are family or friends of someone who has been victimized. So there's all sorts. There's survivors, there's crusaders, there's the curious, and there's a phenomenon that occurs. And it's understandable in some ways, but on the other hand, it's undermining. It undermines truth. Just because you despise someone that you think has murdered their wife doesn't mean you should just throw out every insult that you can to them about everything. Oh, he's a slob, he's this, he's that. You've got to follow your reasoning through, okay? Is what you're saying just to entertain you, or just to, or is it because that's what a loyal friend would do for the victim, right? They maybe didn't have that support in life, and you want to be 100% on their side, right? So what I find happening a lot, and it's very irksome, because I don't think it serves. I don't think it serves finding the truth and finding getting justice, because if you're just living in a miasma of misapprehension, it doesn't help you work out what happened. And it has the ability to sway other people, and then you're all going off down a track which is the wrong little goat track. You're not going to get to the right destination, So just the example at the moment I'm talking about would be in Suzanne Morphew's case. So Suzanne Morphew, who went missing on Mother's Day 2020, in the middle of what was probably a really tense part of the pandemic, at the start of the pandemic, when people were very much stressing out, not knowing what to do, very discombobulated. Anyone ill, like Suzanne, would have been very careful about what they were doing, like what they were coming in contact with, where they would go, and keeping their house very clean, being cautious about things coming into the home, like even groceries, wiping everything down, leaving it outside for a bit, putting things in the freezer. All of these safeguards that people were taking. If you compromised, in immunity in any way, where otherwise you might have been exceptionally healthy and not really concerned personally about catching something, right? And that's an isolating world. And then imagine if you're stuck with a bit of an oaf who is very base, and so there's not an intellectual stimulation at all. People tend to sort of really connect with this and create all sorts of things in their minds about what life must be like for someone, right? And you want to stick up for them at every step. So calling someone a slob, Barry Morphew is too much of a slob to put a plate away. Barry Morphew is too lazy to do that washing unless for a reason. Don't want this to be bitchy. I want this to be just a cautionary word, because when you think you're just sticking up for someone and it's entertaining to pick on someone's every trait, right? It could be leading you away from the truth. And you're being very contradictory within yourself and spreading that out to others. Okay, it's contradictory. The Saturday afternoon, right? And then the radio silence, sort of, and then the story of the meal and everything. The one plate, there's so much made of, well, this was in the dishwasher, etc. Oh, but, which is it? Barry killed Suzanne in the afternoon, that Saturday the 9th, had a lonely meal, a solitary meal, and the dishes are away in the dishwasher. The same people saying this are also saying Barry's too lazy to put anything in the dishwasher. He would never put that away. He never cleaned up after himself. Suzanne always would. Oh, but so you've got the coffee cup, you've got the plate, you've got the Saturday afternoon, right? So which is true? You want things four ways. Either Suzanne was alive that night, she wasn't chased around the house by a way, she wasn't, either she was alive to put the plate away after the shared meal, right, and the dishwasher, because she's the tidy one, she's the clean one. Barry wouldn't have done that, you say, but you also say she was already dead, but he also didn't put that in the dishwasher. And then maybe Suzanne wasn't always doing things straight away like that. I mean, one coffee cup, she could have left that out. But you say both that she wouldn't leave it out and that she was already dead. So was that coffee cup not from Sunday because she would never have left it out? Or does she sometimes leave things out just for a little while until it's more convenient to do a little bit of housework, a tiny thing like putting one cup away? And would she have also have left the dishes on the Saturday night? Is it Barry? I'm not saying this very clearly, but do you see what I mean? You keep contradicting yourselves, right? And it's not useful. It's not helping you work out in your own mind what you think about Suzanne's fate, okay? Because you're making her both alive and dead all at once at many junctures. If Barry never would have put one plate and one fork even away in a dishwasher, I mean, why is that unlikely? Why are you arguing that when it contradicts your belief about when Suzanne died. Remember, she's disappeared. She hasn't been found. Her husband, Barry Morphew, is up on murder charges because it's the contention of Chaffey County Sheriff's Office, CBI, FBI, DA Linda Stanley, that Barry Morphew murdered her and that she isn't alive. And this is obviously the most likely scenario, is that Suzanne Morphew is dead and has been dead since around Mother's Day. You know, we've talked here about the many options about other dates and times. But okay, if it was Saturday afternoon, why are you wasting your breath bitching about Barry would never have put that in the dishwasher? That would have been Suzanne cleaning up after him. How did that happen? And we see this in chats all the time, and it needs to be checked. Okay? Which is it? Suzanne wouldn't have left that coffee cup up. You say it can't even be hers. Whose coffee is it? Well, it's clearly hers. It could have even have been there from Friday. And if it's there from Friday, I mean, she doesn't always put things away. Did she have one on Saturday morning? Maybe she didn't even have one on Saturday morning. Maybe she went somewhere for coffee. And if she's not putting her cup away, maybe Barry puts plates away and not her cup. I don't know. This is... it's not... You can't talk in absolutes. Suzanne was the one, this, that, the other. Barry would never did. Because you're always contradicting yourselves and changing your timeline. You know, this cup, I want to know, does Suzanne have any sort of milk or anything that might curdle? Or could they see how much of the liquid had evaporated? You know, if something's left a long time and it slowly evaporates and condenses, the liquid condenses. Because Jeff Libler, was he not talking to Suzanne on Saturday? But I guess then we've got the issue of Sheila, right? Sheila was in contact with Suzanne. Is Barry able to emulate Suzanne to Sheila? Might be easy to a lover, because he can just say things like, I want to get naked. Jeff mightn't even notice that that's not Suzanne, because, you know, he's wrapped up. Maybe that they obviously did clearly talk in a sexual manner anyway, you know. Oh, this is so jumbled. Sorry, I'm so tired. So, you know, if the cup's from Friday, if it is that old, Barry could have been just contacting Jeff. So it's a possibility. But then who was talking to Sheila? If the cup's from Saturday, great. Well then, accept that, you know, Barry does put dishes away. Just chose not to put Suzanne's cup away. So does that make sense? Would you do, like, is he that, who's being spiteful here? Would one of them just done all of it? Or if Barry had just done one of it, would Suzanne then have gone and put her cup away? So, I mean, are we really looking at a coffee cup that was from Sunday morning? If you're thinking that your daughter's coming back and you might see them that afternoon and you don't quite know what time, you don't want to be out on a bicycle ride in the afternoon. And Barry's the one that's at home mostly. He would know if Suzanne was doing the odd ride in the morning. And on that Mother's Day, it would make sense, this is just to me, to go for your ride. Even if you regularly went in the afternoon, it would make sense to go in the morning because you want to just be there in the afternoon. Even if you're just seeing your girl to kiss her before she goes back to Gunnison. Was she going to come all the way back into Gunnison? Apparently she wasn't going to stay the night, but Suzanne could have thought that she was going to, or hoped that she was going to. So even if it's just Macy that's going to be there, Suzanne probably wouldn't want to be out on a bicycle ride. I don't know. But I feel like a morning ride on the Sunday, if you're waking up Sunday morning, Mother's Day, on your own, I feel like it's something I would do. I would do that thing for myself to start the day like that, just to get out of that lonely house, get out, move, pump your blood, and give yourself that boost, you know. It's funny just thinking about the P word and the C word, both of them, I guess, but Suzanne still was traveling when she could throughout the pandemic. I mean, a lot of people didn't even leave their suburb. She's made quite a few trips to different spots, and she is staying in various places and everything. I feel like maybe she didn't feel like her immune system was too compromised. I don't know, but that was one thing I thought about, you know, there being bleach in the home would be, I mean, there was a point when I was bleaching everything, you know, everything that came into my house, it was getting wiped down with, wipes and things. But that, you know, often because various reasons. So there's a lot of contradictory things anyway. We don't need to add to it, right? So if you believe Suzanne was murdered by Barry Morphew on Saturday afternoon, why are you even talking just to be snippy about the fact that he would never put anything away? We've got to work out the timing of this coffee cup. Why are plates away from a Saturday night meal apparently and not a coffee cup? Someone's putting things away. Was the coffee cup not put away because of spite, or because there wasn't a person there to put it away when previously there was someone to put away the dishes the night before, the Saturday? Is that cup from Sunday? Or who has been interacting with Sheila in such a convincing manner and with Jeff Libler in such a convincing manner? Was it a Thursday or Friday coffee cup which somehow was not put away? Is this the planning of an evil genius? I'm going to leave that cup out because that's going to come in useful. Whatever day it's found, it looks like she was there. Okay? You know, some of us can think like an evil genius, not that we want to. It's not pleasant to use your mind like that. I tend not to, and I tend to like to remain quite naive. But if I had to think things out, I could. Anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. It's not trying to be, I don't want to be aiming it toward anyone. I just think it's something to think about when you're wanting to, you know, you want to show your support for Suzanne, and particularly for people that have lived through domestic violence situations and have been in situations that are dangerous and debilitating. You know, you want to show your support and your loyalty. Well, there were people in Suzanne's life that should have been closer and more loyal, and they weren't. She didn't feel like she could open up. Now, that's partly because she was doing things that she was not going to get approval for, obviously. You know, and she really was poking the bear. things we all want to know, you know. When did Barry Morphew know about the affair? Did he? Or did he just suspect because Suzanne's on her phone in front of him, you know, he knows she's not talking for hours to her family or someone, right? Of course it's suspicious. In front of him on holidays and things like that. So, but when did he really know, right? Sorry, this is such a scramble, isn't it? And it's 20 minutes long. It's 18 minutes longer than I really should have been rambling on. But I'm just trying to remember, you know, you have to follow through the thought. If you're just going to say something because it's satisfying, because it you know, it's a dig at someone that you just don't like, who you don't know is guilty, okay? It might look that way, but you don't know. I mean, I know many people think they do know, and that's their jam. But you need to follow through your jibes. When you make a jibe, follow it through. Well, what does that actually mean? And does it fit with other fact? Does it fit with fact? You don't just make a jibe for the sake of it, because the point is people take that and run with it, and then it's everywhere, right? And everyone's repeating it. And it's so not useful, and it creates this white noise. It creates a mess. And then you don't know where you are, and everyone is trying to then work on theories based on something that someone has just said as a throwaway line, meant to be insulting to somebody that they despise. See you later. Thanks for listening.